These 3 common habits will make people instantly dislike you. This first habit will kill your chances of attracting girls or even making friends. To illustrate this, let me tell you about a time 2 months ago when I was cold approaching girls at the bars with my friend. We met these 2 girls and one of them was the most ADHD girl I'd ever met. Having a conversation with her was actually difficult. The only reason I stuck around was because my friend was talking to her friend and I wanted to support him and let that conversation go as long as it could. But literally every 30 seconds there was something she was distracted by. She was either on her phone, she was constantly interrupting, and she literally left the conversation about 5 times. I'm not even exaggerating, because she saw someone she knew across the bar. And she'd be like, oh, wait 1 second. I know that guy, or I know that girl, or let me tell her something. And she would run across and leave the conversation and just leave you sitting there. And she was the most uncharismatic person I have ever met in my life, and it was difficult to stay in that conversation. So the first area that is gonna kill your charisma is being distracted. There's nothing worse than talking to someone who is distracted and doesn't wanna be here or is not even paying attention to what you're saying and the interaction that's going on. So, if you are being distracted, this is some area that you really need to level up on immediately. If you can just become very focused and present in your conversations with people, this is gonna do so much for your charismatic abilities and they're gonna 10x overnight. So let me give you the 2 highest return on investment areas that you can focus on that's gonna make you instantly more charismatic. The first one's gonna be eye contact. You should be holding eye contact nearly 100% of the time when the other person is speaking. This is gonna show that you're actively listening, you're engaged, and it's gonna do a lot for you. And when you're talking, you should hold about 85% eye contact. If you look at them too long, it's gonna be very pressuring. So you can break eye contact by just looking off to the side of their eyes, kind of just like this for a second. But once again, you don't wanna be distracted, looking around the room, looking at other people on your phone. This is all gonna take away from your charismatic abilities. And the second area that's gonna really do a lot for you is controlling your thoughts. If you're constantly thinking while the other person is speaking and just waiting for your turn to interject, this is gonna kill your charisma. When the other person is speaking, your only thoughts, your mind really should be blank, and the only thing you should be paying attention to is what they're saying. This is how you're gonna ask intelligently formed questions that's gonna make you very charismatic. It's gonna make these conversations amazing. But if you're constantly distracted by your thoughts, or even worse, you're interrupting or saying the things that come to your mind, you're gonna ruin all your charisma. You should let people interrupt you. You don't have any ego on the line when it comes to this. You need to just be there, trying to listen to this person as good as possible if you wanna be charismatic. If charisma is the goal you have in mind, then this is how you want to communicate. You wanna hold a lot of eye contact. You wanna let the other person talk as much as possible. You wanna have a clear mind, really let them speak their mind, ask intelligently formed questions from everything you're picking up on that they're saying, and this is gonna make you instantly more focused and way more charismatic. Even if you're not distracted, this next habit is a turnoff for literally everybody. And I made this mistake myself just about 8 months ago when I first went to Sweden. See, I came from an all-time low, having failed multiple businesses, to then starting one that was successful and making a lot of money really quickly. And I was so proud of myself. And I went in on this like literal high. I was just high on my accomplishments and my success. And I let that carry over into my conversations and social interactions. And as a result, I was repelling people more than I was attracting them. I lost all my charismatic abilities that I learned over the last few years. And I was like, what's going on? I'm successful. I thought more people would like me. But really, I was just pushing them away. See, the night I really realized this was when I talked to these 2 girls. Well, a friend was kind of asking me questions and the other one that I liked was a little bit shy. And I was just talking about how I was the man, and it was just like this, it was clown world for me. I was being a clown. And it ended in like a big argument with multiple people, and just me being a little bit too arrogant, and really things just went bad. And I was like, shit, man, this was my fault. I gotta change my ways. I gotta go back to what I knew was actually getting me success. Even when I was broke and had less than $1,000 in my bank account in terrible style, I was getting more girls than I am now. So the lesson here is to be impressed by other people. Don't try and impress them with yourself. See, this is that mistake that I was making there, is I thought I had some accomplishments, so I was trying to impress people, getting them thinking that they would like me in return. When back in the day when I didn't have anything, I was just impressed by other people because I read the charisma books and I was like, oh, it's that simple, let me just apply this. and it worked really well. See, when you have nothing to prove, you actually come across as more confident. See, only an insecure person is trying to prove themselves. But if you're just going into an interaction making other people feel great about themselves, you come from such a place of confidence that everyone is gonna recognize when you have nothing to prove. And even when people do say things that are, kind of a joke on your behalf or whatever, you can just laugh it off and be like, enjoying it just as much as they are. This is very charismatic and it makes you a very likable person. No one wants to be with someone who is just super arrogant. They need to prove themselves. They need to talk highly about themselves. You're ruining all the charisma. Let the other person talk so highly about themselves, and they're absolutely gonna love you. And this last habit will kill your chances of attracting girls. And to illustrate this, we're going back a long time to when I was young, like middle school young, and I was on a vacation with my cousins. I think we were in Puerto Rico at the time. And they wanted to talk to some girls. I was super shy, super introverted at this point, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And they were just like, just relax, just be there in the conversation, talk if you want to. And I was so nervous that I couldn't not do something with my hands. So I had a button-up shirt, and I remember just kind of like playing with my button because it was stimulating me enough where I was able to be a little more comfortable in the conversation. And throughout the whole conversation, I'm just sitting there fidgeting with the button on my shirt. And I looked like a clown. So the lesson here is that stillness is key. Too much fidgeting is gonna kill any of your charisma. In most intimate situations, you're gonna wanna lean towards stillness. Of course, I talk with my hands. That's when I'm talking and I try and illustrate the points I'm making with visuals as well. But when I'm listening, I am very still. My hands, either maybe on like my legs, they're like on the table, they're crossed doing something, but they're very still. They're not moving, I'm not fidgeting, not touching things. I'm just very focused on the other person, not focused on myself and comforting myself or doing anything besides just listening to the other person speak. Of course, this is gonna vary. In certain situations, it requires you when you're speaking to be more active. So in that situation, you don't wanna just be still and talking and, when you're just trying to deliver something, exciting or, be presenting something big, you need to bring the energy. But for the most part, in intimate situations, that's not gonna be the case, especially when it's your turn to listen. This is more applying to listening than it is to presenting and giving some big speech or something. Stillness is gonna do you well most of the time. Being still internally as well as externally is gonna help you out a lot. So the more you can bring that sense of peace, of calm within, of being very comfortable no matter what situation you're in, and visually showing that as well by just being very relaxed and not moving too much, not fidgeting, not being nervous, not having a nervous tick, this is gonna come across as very, very charismatic. If you can be calm in any situation, you will do well. And if you got any value from this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on this channel where I'm going to be teaching you how to become attractive to girls and get the girl of your dreams in the next 3 months. So if you want help with this, you can also book a free coaching call with me down below, or we can help you achieve exactly that.